1 in every 3 Americans are considering retiring abroad. That was the article I just read from Investopedia. And this survey or the study was done by Western and Southern Financial Group. And I believe they're like a financial advising company. And anyways, I thought this article was really interesting. And they made up a couple key points of why Americans are looking to retire abroad. And the first one was low cost of living. And I understand that the US has increased the cost of living. And I don't know exactly to what extent these days because, of course, we moved and retired about 3-4 years ago. So it was already rising at that time, but I'm sure it's gone up quite a bit from what I've heard from the news as well as from our friends in the States. And for that reason, I can understand retiring overseas. And of course, in Asia, there is a lot of opportunities to have more of a cost-effective retirement, whether it be Thailand, whether it be Vietnam, or whether it be the Philippines. And of course, there's also a lot of countries that are not necessarily going to be as cost-effective, because we thought when moving to Costa Rica for our retirement that it would be more cost-effective to move down there than that of the United States. But one thing that we didn't consider is that Costa Rica has a lot of imports for products, and so they do a lot of import tax. So a lot of the products coming in that maybe we want to have, whether it be for food or some, anything else, it costs a lot more because of the taxes. So in terms of the cost of living for us in Costa Rica, wasn't that much cheaper than that of the United States. But definitely moving to Bangkok, we did have a lower cost of living, whether it be the housing, whether it be the food, whether it be, other essentials. Yeah, definitely lower cost of living, and it's helped us immensely in our retirement, especially early retiring. And this survey was also talking about the second reason that would be lower cost of health care. And we haven't had a chance to take advantage of the healthcare system in Bangkok yet because we just got our health insurance and also we're still traveling. But we've heard from other expats that have utilized the healthcare system in Bangkok, and they said it's really, really good. They said they had a wonderful experience, also very cost effective in terms of low cost for the same kind of procedures that you would get in the United States. Now bear in mind, a lot of doctors from foreign countries go to the United States to study in the medical schools and also to work and learn in the medical school, hospitals. So they do have the experience similar to that of American doctors. And they just come back to their home country, and now they provide the services to the people of their country at a lower cost. And the third thing, this survey was talking about why Americans are looking to retire abroad is for a slower pace of life and more of a peaceful life. And I'm assuming what they're saying is that America, it's right now, I think, I don't want to say kind of crazy, but I think in terms of the environment, with the political system maybe, it might be a little bit kind of shaky. I don't know really what's going on other than what I see in social media or hear from my friends, but I know the political climate in the United States is not necessarily the best, and that's understandable. So I think there's a lot of people that are looking to maybe escape that type of situation. And with the retirement, you know what? Your retirement, you can go anywhere. So you don't have to stay around for that type of environment. And I think I've talked in my past videos, sometimes to live your best life, sometimes you have to get away from that, of the negative energy or the negative vibes. So I can totally understand people wanting to leave the US to kind of escape that kind of environment, which we didn't do that ourselves. We didn't, escape for that type of purpose. But I can understand if people do leave and retire abroad because of that purpose. But one thing I noticed too also, when I was doing kind of a deep dive into Americans retiring, one thing I noticed is not many Americans actually retire to Asia. They are more retiring to Latin America, South America. Also, they're retiring to Europe. I see a lot of people going to like Spain and Portugal. So I don't know, maybe Asia is kind of that untapped retirement hub for Americans. So it could be. And maybe by me making this video, maybe more Americans will be interested in coming to Asia for their retirement. But there's key factors that the survey is talking about that also kind of discourages Americans from retiring overseas or abroad. And one of those things, of course, was even though you can get good health care in abroad, they still look at the quality of healthcare. They don't necessarily maybe 100% believe that's going to be really good. So that is kind of a thing that's in the back of their mind, that they're worried about that. Also, they talked about, I guess, cultural adaptation to a new country. And I completely agree with that. I think that's maybe another reason why Americans don't go to Asia, because they feel as though Asia, they can't maybe speak English, and they're worried about the language barrier. And so maybe that's the reason why, I don't know. I know also Americans don't typically go to Asia for holidays and vacations either. So that's kind of like being unfamiliar with the area. That can kind of discourage them from maybe retiring in Asia. Oh, also one thing I discovered just recently in Thailand is banking. Banking is an issue as well. And a lot of retirees are worried about the banking restrictions for foreigners or for expats moving to a foreign country. And I noticed that recently because Bangkok has been kind of cracking down on the banking for people that are living in Thailand. And you have to have only a certain type of visa that is required or that is authorized to have a bank system. And my visa, I have a DTV, Destination Thailand visa, that does not allow me to have a bank in Thailand. So I know a lot of retirees are worried about that as well. But I don't really need it. I have a bank in Thailand, but I know a lot of people do want to have a bank and have access to funds in Thailand, because also withdrawing from an ATM can get also very costly as well. So also, what else? Visa regulations too. Speaking of visas, a lot of people are, I guess, deterred from retiring abroad is because also a lot of restrictions on the visas. And it's hard to get visas in certain countries you want to go to. Now, I heard Panama is really good about their visa, and their visa process is really simple. Also, Costa Rica, we did get a visa, and it worked out pretty well. We got a visa that put us towards possibly getting a permanent residency. And that was a little bit time consuming. It takes about, the process took about 6 to 7 months for us to get the visa. And then to work towards permanent residency, you have to have about 3 or 4 years. And so a lot of the Asian countries are becoming more flexible and more lenient towards retirees. I know that Vietnam is working towards a good visa for also people that want to retire there. And also Cambodia is doing a really good job getting visas for retirees as well. So yeah, I think you'll see probably more Americans looking towards possibly Asia as a place to come for retirement. And as Americans, we also have to be concerned about taxation, because we get taxed wherever we go in the world. Doesn't matter where we live, we're still going to get charged income tax for our income. And I do get 1099, also some income from rental property and also from YouTube. So there is money coming in. And so, yeah, the government will take the money. And so you have to be also worried about where you go to retire, because you don't want to get taxed in also the country that you retire, because then you get double taxation, right? Tax from the United States and tax from wherever you're living. So that's also a concern for a lot of Americans that are looking to retire overseas, what the taxation laws are for that country. And then finally, concern for Americans to retire overseas is basically, I think when you have social media and with YouTube and all these videos about retirement, a lot of Americans can fall into this kind of false sense of reality. And what I mean by that is they have this vision of what retirement is supposed to look like overseas. And it could be where, you talk about like a wonderful beach and you're having your margarita on the beach, or, you can have kind of a wonderful scenic view of a nice villa and you're overlooking the ocean in your big, nice, like resort type home. And, that kind of retirement vision is in the minds of a lot of people in America. So when it comes down to reality of moving abroad, it doesn't necessarily meet that expectation sometimes. So that can also be very discouraging for people that are interested in retiring abroad, because they may hear stories from their friends or people that also have retired abroad, and they may say, oh, you know what, I was expecting this, but this happened. So I think we all have to understand that retirement is different for everybody, not only in terms of location, but also in terms of the expectations and what you do in retirement. And not everyone lives the same retirement lifestyle. So I think that's kind of one of those things that if you are looking to retire abroad, I think I've made this advice before, but I always encourage everybody, take a short trip, a couple months, and go spend some time at the place you want to retire before you retire there. Because I tell you what, when you're boots on the ground, so to speak, when you're physically in the location, you get a better sense of what you really kind of anticipate in retirement in the home country that you choose. Because ultimately, as all retirees will tell you that are retiring abroad, the honeymoon phase will end. And when it ends, you're basically living your retirement life just in a new country, but you're doing the same things that you would do back in the United States. Really, because other than, you can only do so much sightseeing, touristy stuff. And after a while, it becomes where you're now have a place to live, and you start creating a normal routine of life, and you get to realize that life is very similar to that of what you have in the United States. But I don't want to discourage you from retiring abroad, but I wanted to let you know that expectations and what you anticipate retirement is like overseas is not too far off from what you would have retirement in your home country or United States. So, but I thought this article was very interesting. I didn't realize that many Americans were considering to retire overseas. That was never in my purview. So when I saw this article, I was like really impressed. I said, oh, that's pretty impressive. I didn't realize that. And I'm curious to know, if you're from the United States, have you thought about retiring overseas? Leave a comment below, let me know. But there was another article, actually, from the Wall Street Journal. It was talking about Americans that are actually middle income Americans that are looking to live abroad. Now this, I think, makes more sense to me than retiring abroad, because I'm seeing a lot more, I guess, I don't say younger, but yeah, younger couples that are becoming like digital nomads, and they are doing work remotely, but they're doing it abroad because it's a lower cost of living, and also since they do all their work from their computer, and they don't have to physically be somewhere, it gives them opportunity to live remotely in different countries all over. They may spend like 3 months here, 3 months there, or a year here, a year there, and so that I can see increasing. And over the years, I think it'll increase more and more, because when you have access to remote work, why not take advantage of living abroad? But yeah, I thought these articles were interesting. Also, it gave me the opportunity to have this discussion with you guys, that if you are interested in retiring abroad or moving abroad, that you might want to subscribe to the channel and watch more videos about our life here as we live abroad and travel abroad. We're doing both. So if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Griff. My wife and I retired about 4 years ago, and been slow traveling since. And then recently we found a home in Bangkok, Thailand. So we are living in Thailand, but we still slow travel. So right now we are here in Tokyo, Japan. But yeah, if you guys like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe and follow the channel. We'll be traveling some more, as well as having some more discussions about what it's like to retire abroad as well as travel abroad. Till next time, guys, have yourself a wonderful day, and we'll see you back next video. Bye-bye.